on the technology front. So, I spent a lot of time analyzing the relationship between psychological testing and productivity and creativity across the lifespan. And so I know a fair bit about that, I suppose. And one of the things I did learn was that part of the reason the universities have their degrees are valuable is because they were very careful in terms of meritocratic admission, and they also have a hammerlock on accreditation. And so once you have an MBA, obviously you're accredited as an MBA graduate from a given school. And that means you had a certain peer network and a certain level of intellectual proficiency even to get into the program, certain degree of conscientiousness to rigorously pursue the program and pass it. So the value in the universities, in large part, is nested inside the accreditation. Now you could imagine, and I don't think this is technically impossible, you could imagine a system of blockchain accrediting tests that would be freely available to people. I would do this on a for-profit basis, but so that if you wanted to claim Bachelor of Arts equivalence with regards to your knowledge of the humanities, that you could take a set of objective tests that couldn't be mucked about with by administrators and gain your proxy by that manner. So imagine this. It's an enterprise that I've envisioned and we're pursuing at the moment. Imagine I could produce a data set of 10,000 multiple choice questions, say in American history. And I could do that by buying multiple choice tests from high school and university professors all across the country. Okay, now we'd have to administer them to several thousand people, and then we could analyze each question with regards to its accuracy as a predictor of general knowledge domain. You can do that. You can rank order them. Then imagine you have a program that can randomly pick equivalent level of difficulty questions from that whole set of 10,000. You could set up a system that could produce random tests, so they couldn't exactly be faked or cheated easily. And you could rank order people in terms of their knowledge domains with regards to those tests, and you could blockchain it so it would be completely impenetrable to administrative interference, and you could steal the accreditation away from the universities. And I think I can't see any reason at all that that's not technically possible.
But that's been raised before in the United States, and that's the third rail as far as universities are concerned, because I think they suspect that given the state of education today, higher education, that a person's entering SAT score may be static or actually go down after 4 years.
Right.
And that the idea that everybody would take an SAT as an exit exam, and it's quite logical, because remember what they said about the SAT in the 50s and 60s. This was a meritocratic device so that people of different backgrounds, economically deprived or racially, and they didn't go to competitive schools, they wouldn't be punished. So even though they got A's, Harvard would say, well, you got A's from Fresno, but it's not the same as St. Paul's. And then they answered back and said, but we took the SAT test, and this student did as well. But when you get rid of all of that and you say, okay, you introduced the SAT because you said that there were different levels of prior education at high schools. We want to reintroduce it on the back end because we feel that there's different levels of instruction quality at universities. So just as you suspect that high schools were of uneven quality, we now suspect that colleges, i.e. Stanford, Harvard, Yale, are of uneven quality. And the BA would mean nothing, just like you said the GPA was mean nothing unless it was coupled with a SAT score. So to get a BA, everybody has to take the test that you outlined, whether you went to school or not. And another thing, you talked about accreditation. If we could just give every student graduating in the United States the choice, you can go through the School of Education, and that's really the catalyst for wokeness, because it trains all of our K through 12 public. Or you have the alternative of going and get a master's degree for 1 year in an academic subject, chemistry, biology, English. I think the vast majority of BAs would prefer to go get a master's degree in an academic subject, and I think let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a minute. So